the night out right. Panel at the table in that half-dead light. Miss Robin in the middle, calling every shot, directing and producing, till the story runs hot. 1-1 from the city, badge heavy on his chest, towing that law like a wicked chain, spitting facts, no rest. Crimes after dark, we close the night out right. Tear through the lies till the wrong sounds like a fight. All of the answers buried so deep out of sight. We watch the threads unravel, we watch the threads ignite. JJ in the corner, state of the deep in his head. Which lies to toss and which ones to keep instead. Dago from the cafe says forget about it, leans back, spins his thoughts like a blade cutting holes in the track. Lee at the front, head advocate, steady stare, every word like a warning, every silence a dare. All of them leaning in, clock crawling, eyes bright. Every secret feels louder than the buzzing of the night. Crimes after dark, we close the night out right. Tear through the lies till the wrong sounds like a fight. All of the answers buried so deep out of sight. We watch the threads unravel, we watch the threads ignite. You can bury it in paper, you can lock it in a file, but the truth bleeds through, drip by drip, tile by tile. We're dragging it to daylight, name by name, line by line. If you wrote it in the shadows, we'll read it out this time. Yeah. Crimes after dark, we close the night out right. Tear through the lies till the wrong sounds like a fight. All of the answers buried so deep out of sight. We watch the threads unravel, we watch the threads ignite.
All right, welcome again to another Crimes After Dark. Do I get a thumbs up backstage? Let me know that you guys can hear me. Okay, fantastic. All right, so let's get at her very, very quickly. We have a very, very light crew, and to make up for it, maybe we're gonna, I don't think my wife has ever been on stage before on our show. I don't think so. Maybe she can correct me when she gets up here. We're gonna bring Rhonda up as well. So let's get Robin on right away. Again, the people who are missing tonight are kind of planned. One had job duties come up. That his schedule is changing a lot, so that's just going to happen from time to time. Dago's got his night off. We've arranged to have him have a couple of nights off so he can focus on family issues and stuff like that. And JJ's got his regular night off as well. So it just hit bad timing that everyone's gone. So we'll bring Rhonda on, and she can chit chat with you as well. We really, really encourage, Robin, I am going to let you talk in just a second. We really, really encourage you to jump on the stage with us. So Robin, make sure we put that out there in the chat, if you will, for the link to people to join backstage. And what do you have going on before we bring Rhonda up? What do you got going on? Oh, you're frozen. Okay. And now you're muted. Wow. We got technical difficulties all the way around.
There we go. That's so better.
There you are. Welcome.
There we are. Yeah. So no, just getting that sizzle reel.
That sizzle reel was awesome. I hadn't even seen the ending part of it because I'd watched you as you built it. You know, I hadn't seen the ending, and You even worked in the She-Devil on there already. Is that
Yeah, of course. I tried to work everybody in. So
That's
yeah.
awesome. So that's great stuff. Anything else or is that your whole day, like working on the sizzle reel?
That was pretty much the whole. People have no idea what it takes to
Right? It's
do
not
videos
easy.
like that. No, because you've got to
Yeah.
get timing, and there's bloopers in there for sure. And sometime I am going to show on the show the bloopers that AI
Reels.
does. AI is fantastic, but AI was doing some funky ass shit. Let me tell you.
I gotta tell you, I want to be me in the AI version. My AI version is a little better than I am, so
Mine
it's all
too.
good.
Mine too.
Yeah, I get it. It is, but hey, that's all right. I'm not going to complain. I'm like, no, please make that look a lot less attractive, please. So anyway, so thank you so much for making us look good, making us all look good.
Hey,
So
I try.
very
You
cool.
know?
All right, let's get the She-Devil on stage and see if she's intimidated by being on camera. What's up?
There she is.
Oh, you got to unmute yourself.
You're muted.
Sorry,
Hey,
I am a
hello.
little intimidated, but hello, everybody.
You are intimidated. It's not so bad once you get going. It is what it is. So thanks for joining us. This is my wife's sewing room behind her. She's got a giant long arm back there and all kinds of sewing shit in the background. For those of you who haven't seen it before, she's got her own little business, and that's it behind her. And this is my business behind me, which is basically a giant green screen. So it is what it is. But welcome to your first debut on our show.
Thank
So
you.
I'm sure people want to see the face behind the all the moderation that you've done for the longest time. So again, by the way, great night for you guys to come on with us. We had a great spontaneous discussion about Greek life last time, having a couple of people up in sororities that talked about things.
We did.
That was great.
Yeah,
We
loved
won't.
it.
So let's just talk about Rex Heuermann a little bit. Let's talk about some of the new things. You said that there was there something new in the Rex Heuermann? Because I know the Rex Heuermann, plea deal happened, but was there something that happened today or not?
Well, not today, but there's just a lot that happened yesterday with it. Of course, he's not charged with it, but he did, admit to murdering Karen Brigada. So that's 8 that we know of, and they said, his lawyer said that he will. Michael Brown, yes.
Yeah.
I was blanking on the name, said that he will be talking with the FBI Behavioral Analysis Unit. So who knows what he will be telling them? Could there be, other victims around the country? It's very possible. But so there's a lot that's going to be coming with that, I believe. So
I feel like he kind of said the article that I read said he confessed to strangling 8 women, and I thought that was weird for them to list it as strangling, considering I think he did a lot more than just strangle women. So it was a little weird that they said, well, he confessed just I feel like there was torture involved, there was horrible things that were done, not just strangling, but they were like, oh yeah, he confessed to strangling, like as if that's not bad enough to say you strangled 8 women, right? But
right.
It seemed like it was almost like downplaying what he really might have done.
Well, I have a hunch that might have been because Judge Mazzy didn't want to hear all that gruesome stuff in his courtroom. Now,
maybe.
What he has said privately or in all the documents, who knows? But now, one interesting thing that came out was that in relation to Pennsylvania, there could be a case because they're looking into a Charger, a Dodge Charger, from Pennsylvania, something to do with Sandra Castillo's.
Oh wow!
Murder. It was supposed to have been seen, I guess, like coming out of woods or something like that. So I don't know. They didn't. It was very vague details. So I found that super interesting that there could be something even down here in PA. So I don't know.
What do you mean, Christine heard? Do you believe it? I'm curious what you mean. Do I believe that Rex Heuermann actually murdered the women, or what do you mean by do you believe it? I might need to get a little bit more clarification on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think it means, well, if that's what it means, do I believe it? Yes. I see, it's kind of funny because you know me, I'm supposed to believe in the presumption of innocence until proven guilty in a court of law. So I should be giving Rex Heuermann the presumption of innocence. And you don't want to be hypocritical and say, well, he pled guilty, so therefore he must be guilty, because we have another case where we're not sure pleading guilty really means guilty. So, but in Rex Heuermann's case, I never felt like Rex Heuermann's case was going to be a big mystery. It was more about who covered for Rex Heuermann for how long. It almost was one of those cases where you felt like at the end of the day, you kind of knew it was going to be that he did it. The question is, did people cover for him and why? And more perhaps, for you and I, Robin, is the mystery of Shannon Gilbert. And are we going to get any resolution on Shannon Gilbert? Did he have anything to do with it?
Yeah.
I don't know what to think about I wonder, and I think my wife actually might have, Rhonda, were you big into the Ted Bundy thing back in the day? Or did you ever get into the Ted Bundy story a lot?
I read a lot of the books and listened to lots of podcasts about him.
That's what I thought. And if you recall, it's like they used Ted Bundy to try to they used him to try to understand other serial killers. There's been several serial killers in which profilers would go in and say, okay, help us understand the mind of a killer like yourself so that we can go after and get other killers. It makes me wonder if a similar deal is going to be made with Rex Heuermann, where they're going to use him as a resource to say, how did you pick your victims? How did you stalk them? Tell us tricks. What do serial killers think? Teach us the ropes that we might be missing on how we would look for other serial killers. Or, maybe he's got tips about other killers that were dumping bodies into places that were related to him. And maybe he knows because, maybe he's got a sixth sense for how other killers work and can give them tips on, well, I don't know who it is, but I can tell you what you're looking for. You're looking for this, this, and this based on what I know about myself.
And the thing is, when he was in court, I don't know if you saw any of that footage or not, but it was very chilling, kind of how just blasé he was about, strangulation, did it, blah, blah, blah.
But he didn't speak, right? He with his attorney spoke, right? Or did he speak?
No, he spoke.
Oh, did he?
The judge asked him the questions, just like with Coberger. And he, he was just very blasé. So I believe he's that kind of narcissist. He's going to enjoy talking to the FBI, I think. I really do. I really got that sense from watching him. There was no, now whether at the sentencing, whether he says anything or not, I don't know, but there was like no remorse, no, anything. It was just like any other day, like he was going to work at the office or something.
Right. Right.
So just to clarify, we're talking about Heuermann in court, right? Or are you talking about?
Yes. We're talking about
Rex Heuermann.
Okay.
Yeah. I was going to pull up, because you said he spoke, and I just pulled up on YouTube a clip of it. So let's see if I can get a clip of him talking. It was interesting because I was just watching on TikTok replays of Dennis Rader, who the BTK killer, and how coldly and calmly he was talking about how it was just, I strangled her and, put the kids in the bathroom and told her I was going to kill her. And this is something I do before and no big deal. It's like another day at the beach,
Yeah.
And that's the way he was.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm scanning through the video and I haven't yet seen him open his mouth. Like he's nodding a lot. I'm trying to look for some footage where he actually talks.
Towards the end, I think. I only watched it the one time, so.
Yes, Margaret, very matter of fact.
It's not the whole thing. It's not throughout the whole thing.
I got it. Okay, hold on.
Okay.
I've never played this before. This is brand new for me, so
we're doing it live.
We're doing it live. Hold on. Let's see. Share video. And we'll share this with some audio. And we'll put it on screen. We'll try. Again, I'm getting tired of that. All right, let's put this on screen and let's see what happens.
Because that's our understanding. We joined that application.
Thank you. Mr. Heuermann, before I swear you in, the allocution is taken. I have some questions to ask of you. They're obvious and simple questions, but I have to ask them. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
How old are you?
62.
You read and write English?
Yes.
Have you discussed this case with your attorney?
Yes, I have.
Discussed this case with your attorney?
Yes, I have.
After discussions with your lawyer, you feel it's in your best interest to plead guilty rather than go to trial.
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you satisfied with the manner in which your attorneys represented you in this case?
Yes, I am.
I must say that the attorneys on both sides of this case have been excellent, unbelievable lawyers. Do you understand that by pleading guilty to a charge, that is the same as if you had gone to trial and been found guilty of that charge?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, you're waiving a number of very important rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, now,
Is it just
include the
me?
right to a trial.
Is it just me, or is there a little bit of a smug look on his face?
There is a
Like,
Yes,
There's definitely
yes,
can you, he's like, he's trying to, it's like he's trying to hold back a smirk. Like he's
Yeah.
proud of it, you know?
Yeah.
What a creepo.
Jury or by the court. Your right to have the prosecution produce evidence and witnesses to prove your guilt beyond a
Yeah.
reasonable doubt.
He looks like he's holding back a smile. Do you see
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
yeah,
Your right to cross-examine those witnesses and your right to testify on your own behalf or to remain silent. Your right to call witnesses or submit evidence on your behalf. You understand those rights as I've just explained?
Yes.
You understand that by pleading guilty, you're giving up those rights.
Yes, I do.
All right. Now, a defendant ordinarily retains the right to appeal even after pleading guilty. In this case, however, as a condition of the plea agreement, you are asked to waive your right to appeal. An appeal is a proceeding.
And by the way, let's stop right there. That is under Supreme Court review right now. This process we have in America, that when you plead guilty, you also waive your right to appeal it. That may be unconstitutional. The Supreme Court is actually reviewing whether it's constitutional to waive your constitutional right to an appeal.
right.
It's your constitutional right, and waiving your constitutional rights may itself be unconstitutional. And so there's a case that's going on there about whether or not they can keep doing this thing, which is that you're pleading guilty and you're giving up any chance of appealing it later on if you decide otherwise. So,
Right.
anyways.
To the court, and if a defendant cannot afford the cost of an appeal or of a lawyer, the state will bear those costs. On an appeal, the defendant may, normally through his or her lawyer, argue that an error took place in this court, which required a modification or a reversal of the conviction. A reversal would require either new proceedings in this court or a dismissal. By waiving your right to appeal, you do not give up your right to take an appeal. But if you take an appeal, you are by this plea, and now separately by this waiver of the right to appeal, giving up the right to have the appellate court consider most claims of error, including, for example, rulings on evidence, discovery, suppression, and any pretrial motions, and whether
And again, I want to take the moment to talk about the nuances of this. This is where ineffective counsel and stuff like that comes in. If he pled guilty because his attorney didn't really explain to him the full ramifications of pleading guilty and waiving his appellate rights, he still might have post-conviction relief options, as does Coberger, to say, hey, look, yeah, I accepted a plea and I waived my rights to appeals, but I was improperly informed, ineffective right to counsel, and as a post-conviction relief, and could reopen that whole thing. But
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, that will open up the can of worms for a lot of different people to be able to potentially come back and, you know, be like, well, I want to appeal because it's been, you know, ruled unconstitutional that I gave up my right to appeal. So that's going to be tricky.
I want to make one more bitch about our justice system. This, after years and years of trials waiting for their day in trial, is how 97% of all cases, whether they're criminal or civil, end up. Plea deals and last minute decisions where it never goes to trial and a jury never sees it. Really, our legal system, trial by a jury of your peers, is being eroded and is almost dead. Nobody goes to jury of their peers anymore. They always plead guilty before they go to trial. 97% of the time they plead guilty before they go to trial. That your peers never get to hear the evidence. And that's both for civil trials, which end in plea deals and undisclosed amounts that are given underneath the table to just say, hey, I'm not saying I'm guilty, but I'll pay you anyways just to get you to shut the hell up. Our legal system, I feel like, is becoming the jury system is eroded in this country. It's almost gone. Nothing goes to trial anymore, it seems like. But
yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. And so many things, everything boils down to the almighty dollar, because they're saving money. And plus it also, for, you know, the prosecution, it's still considered a win So
Yeah.
in a way, so I mean,
Yeah.
it's good for their case records,
Yep.
you know,
Yeah.
the whole nine
Yeah.
yards. But to me, it's not good for justice.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's not. It's anyways, let's continue to see if he because I think you said he gets to the point where he's going to ask some specific questions and pleading guilty to the actual crimes. So let's
Yeah.
get into that a little bit.
This sentence is harsh or excessive, it should be modified. You understand that?
Yes, I
And
do.
your attorney's explained this to you?
Yes, he
And
has.
Mr. Brown, I ask you at this point, are you, with respect
God, he
to
looks smug and cocky.
Yes.
application granted? Thank you. Are you willing to waive your right to appeal in this case in return for the plea and sentence agreement?
Yes,
Do you waive your right to appeal voluntarily of your own free will?
yes, I do.
Are you entering this plea bargain voluntarily of your own free will?
Yes, I am.
Has anyone forced, threatened, or coerced you into pleading guilty?
No.
Are you under the influence of any drugs, medication, or alcohol right now?
No.
Are you under the influence of any substance which has impaired your ability to think clearly or understand what's going on here today?
No.
You understand that by pleading guilty, you're waiving any defense you may have for this case?
Yes, I do.
Now, do you understand, again, an obvious question, but I have to ask it. Do you understand that as a result of this plea and sentence, you will be convicted of a felony and that such conviction will result in an enhanced sentence if you are convicted of a felony in the future? Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
All right. Mr. Brown, again.
And I have to ask, one to break this up a little bit, but I have to ask, what is he getting by admitting guilt and not letting the jury force? I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to be the same thing. Life in prison without the possibility of parole, whether he goes to trial or not. Why not go to trial? Like, what is he getting out of it by not going to trial?
I was wondering the
I
same.
don't.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
a large screen TV.
I
Does he get a
don't
large
know.
screen TV in his cell to for his plea? Hey, if you plead guilty and avoid us the cost of the thing, we'll give you a 65-inch TV in your cell. Like, I mean, what is he getting out of that? Or
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
Or
don't
does he,
know,
or is he
but-
or is he ashamed of the details coming out and he doesn't want everybody to hear the graphic details? And by pleading guilty, he doesn't have to give details.
yeah, because if you know, it could go, especially if it's still up in the air as far as you know, Tanya Jackson and her baby Tatiana. You know, her ex Andrew Dykes, he's been indicted for that, but there's very little evidence to, you know, so experts are still torn as to whether Andrew Dykes is responsible for her or whether it's Rex.
Yeah.
And you know, he may not want to have to say, you know, I did that too, because especially with Tatiana being a, you know, baby in prison, of course, you know, anytime you hurt a child, that's you know, so it may, you know, so but that's going to be a different district attorney, I believe, for that's going to be Nassau County. So Rex isn't done yet, possibly, depending on if they find any other victims. He might have to deal with different district attorneys, and you know. So.
Yeah, right. All right, let's keep going with this. It's interesting.
Another silly question, but have you received a sufficient amount of discovery in this matter?
You certainly have.
And people, have you provided that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, my promise is to sentence you in a manner that's conditional. At the time of your sentencing, I will be provided with a pre-sentence report and perhaps additional information about you and your alleged involvement in this matter. If after reviewing
What I understand, by the way, is I think Asa, his wife, and his daughter Victoria are in the courtroom at the very, very back of the courtroom. If I heard they were there for this.
Yes.
Thing.
Yeah, they were. She
Okay.
spoke at the
Outside of the courthouse. I saw
conference.
that. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
all the relevant information, I learned something which tells me that I cannot in good conscience keep my promise. I shall permit you to withdraw your plea of guilty, reinstate your plea of not guilty, and the case will proceed to trial. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Additionally, my promise is also conditional on the following things. You must cooperate with the probation department. You must not be arrested for any offense in this or any other jurisdiction. Finally, you must appear on the date I set for sentencing or any adjourned date. If you fail to abide by any of these conditions, I will not be bound by my sentencing promise to you, and you will not be permitted to withdraw your guilty plea. Further, I'll be at liberty to sentence you to any appropriate sentence, including the maximum sentence allowed by law. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Now, other than the promise that was placed on the record by the people, has anyone, myself, your lawyer, the prosecutor, or anyone else made any promises to you in return for your plea of guilty?
The only thing I want to interject, Judge, Mr. Tierney has indicated in exchange for the pleas that we're going to enter into this morning, there'll be no further prosecutions on the 8 victims that he's referenced. he is also, my client is also obligated to completely, truthfully, and fairly cooperate with the Federal Bureau of Investigation's Behavioral Analysis Unit as part of what we just discussed.
So there you go. There were some contingencies to his plea deal. He's agreed to work with the feds on their behavioral analysis. So they're going to use him like they did with Bundy, right? They're going to use him for behavioral analysis. They're going to analyze how killers think. That's part of his plea deal. In exchange, they're not going to bring any additional charges against him for the 8 murders that he is pleading guilty to. So what wasn't the wording made it sound like they weren't going to make him any additional charges on the 8. Can they, will they, have they given him a blanket against any additional, if they find out he killed 250 other people, are they going to like, has he immunity against that? Or is he just having immunity against the additional charges for the 8 that he's pleading guilty? It sounds like he's just agreeing to no additional charges for the 8 that they're charging him with.
Right. Because there are still so many investigations going on. Tierney, all he keeps saying is those investigations are those investigations. But so he's not ruling a lot of stuff out yet regarding whether or not there are more victims of Rexes out there.
This is something I want to ask you because I don't know that Rhonda knows this, but I know you do. It makes me wonder. Ray Tierney, the DA, had said there's not going to be a plea deal in this case. He said that early. He said, I see no condition in which we're going to have a plea deal. And now we're at a plea deal. And they're like, well, Ray Tierney said that we have these conditions. So how did Tierney go from I see no condition in which we're going to have a plea deal to all of a sudden coming up with, okay, under these stipulations, we'll do a plea deal?
Yeah, well, he didn't alter the plea deal. It's just what they agreed to. But yeah, originally he said there was not going to be a plea deal at all.
Yeah,
he was not even open to that. He was going for trial.
Right. He's like, I'm not interested in a plea deal. We're not going to do a plea deal. Yeah. But then here we are,
and
plea deal.
Right. So, but maybe, he wanted to maybe, I know he said he had a long talk with the families, and maybe the families, this was maybe some of them were happy that there was a plea deal. Maybe they just finally, after all this time, they were happy that the man is being brought to justice, and maybe they don't want to hear all the, the details and so forth. So maybe they, I don't know. He has not really said exactly how it came about. So, but it did come from the defense, of course. So
it has been stated, Rex Heuermann is not going to elucidate on his crimes. He's at the sentencing, when they have an opportunity for families to do their victim impact statements or whatever, it's been said Heuermann is not going to give any additional details of his crimes. He may speak. It sounds like he may offer some kind of apology or a remorse or something like that, but he won't talk about details. And like you said, maybe the families are like, I don't want to know what you did in detail. Like I've already come to grips that I've lost my sister or my daughter or whatever. I don't need to hear what horrible things you did to her on the way out. So maybe it's just best for the family to just go, you know what? I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear the details, because he might get off on telling the details, so
judging by his face right now, I think he would.
Right. So maybe, and maybe that's part of the deal. Like maybe they thought this guy's going to get off. He's going to enjoy telling what he did. Maybe for the sake of everyone, we need to not give this guy an opportunity at court to tell everybody his jollies about how he enjoyed it. So maybe they did that for Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's finish out this. It's almost over.
The promises made to you?
Other than what I just said.
No.
Are you pleading guilty voluntarily and of your own free will?
Yes.
All right, we're going to swear in the defendant now. Remove.
So that was, I guess, so you said that we won't look for another clip, but so there was another clip where they specifically asked him details and he agreed to the strangulation parts and stuff like that.
They said that he did it. I misspoke. That part is not on tape, but at least you can see there. I'm just surprised that Mazzy let a camera in the courtroom at all, because normally that's not a thing really too much,
Yeah. I think Yeah, that's a good question. In the federal court, so in federal courts, they absolutely, in New York, I don't think allow cameras in the courtroom, but this was a state
No.
case, I think, right? So it was
Right.
because it was a state case. The states use their discretion on whether to use cameras. And you're right, it is
Yeah.
perhaps surprising that the judge did allow it, but it's a super high profile case. So everybody wants to
Right.
see it. They want to see his face. And what did you see on his face? It looked like smug, smirk. Almost you could see maybe I'm reading it, but you almost see a smile creeping into his eyes, like even though he kept his lips from turning up, you almost see the smile creeping into the eyes.
In the beginning,
Yeah.
he had definitely a smirk. I think he held it in a little bit more. I'm curious how you guys feel, judging by his face and judging by Brian Coberger's face when he was entering his guilty plea. What kind of differences do you guys see?
That's a great question. I had one, and people don't like it when I say this. For the most part, Coberger looked nothing like this. He was very, very flat, very professional, if you will, and even when they asked him if he wanted to say something, he was like, I respectfully decline. And he didn't look like he was enjoying it, nor did it look like he was not enjoying it. He just looked emotionless, right? Only one moment, and I'm telling you, it was a micro moment. It seemed like Coberger had a slight smile creep onto his face at one point, and I don't even remember exactly what had happened, but it was like micro. And I mentioned it to people, and people were like, "Oh my God, I can't believe, DA, that you thought he smiled." Like, I'm telling you what I saw. Like, it looked like a moment where he kind of had a little bit of a smirk, but it lasted like a microsecond. It was very,
and maybe
very
it was when they asked Jan Taylor if she had time.
Yeah, right. Like, context is everything. So it could have been exactly that. Like, did you have enough time to review the discovery? And he might have been like, "Bitch, please." It might have been one of those things.
But I mean, you would know, you were there. You actually saw it.
I was there.
You were right there. So I mean, it
was a weird moment. But the Rex Heuermann thing is interesting, or Heuermann, however you pronounce his name. The $1 million question. We've had John Ray on the show, and John Ray has more than once gone on TV showing Victoria Heuermann's, his daughter's artwork, and how morbid and graphic it was, and making references to sex and violence being two sides of the same coin, and things like this, and talked about in their house how they had like a statue of Baphomet and all kinds of like evil things. And so the question remains, did the family know what was going on in that house, or are they really, honestly, truly clueless? But the thing is, we'll never find out, because you can bet dollars to donuts. No one's going to go after the family. So
no, they are going after the family. One of the sons, I forget which victim's son, is going after. They are filing a wrongful death suit against Asa
because of the time that she
saying
was out of the country.
Had to have known.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that would surprise me. So I'm glad that that's happening, I guess, because again, John Ray said that he had receipts that she lied about being out of the country when something happened. And so then it begs the question, if you lied about being out of the country, then why would you lie about it? It must be because you're trying to cover up your own complicity or your own knowledge of the event. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. But to your point, Rhonda, just a huge difference between the two of them. Rex couldn't be any more smug, and Brian couldn't have been any more like respectful and subdued, kind of. Just night and day.
That's so too.
Yeah.
Why do you think Victoria and Asa were in the courtroom? Because they want publicity, or because they actually support him, or what do you think?
I don't think they want the publicity. Asa doesn't strike me as the kind of person who wants to be on camera, even though she did do that public thing. She hid from cameras early on, and she didn't want to come out to her porch. And when she did come out, she was kind of curt with people. I don't think she's a publicity hound. I think it was a show of support. Well, it could be. I think it was a show of support. But you bring up a good point. As John Ray John Ray made a point. The last interview that was done, documentary on Rex Heuermann, had for the first time Asa and Victoria on there, and Ray John Ray's statement was that wasn't a documentary. That was a paid performance. They got paid good money to come on and be on camera and say the things that they did about their father and their husband or whatever. And they were paid like $1 million something for their time on that documentary. And so,
and then she gave an interview after the court appearing. You suppose they gave her money for that? I bet they did.
Maybe.
Here, show up on my show and I'll give you some money.
Or she's setting herself up to start making documentaries about the wife that, married to the serial killer. I married a serial killer. She could make lots of money by being on shows.
There's a lot of kind of odd things going on there. I don't know if it's that they said that they were there because they kind of wanted to hear it from Rex's mouth themselves. They wanted to actually be present.
Didn't believe it until they actually saw it, looked him in the eyes when he said it.
Right. Yeah. And the other thing is, now at some point, she is going to be going down and moving in with Rex's brother in South Carolina.
Yes. Yeah.
She's talking about it.
The property that he bought. Right.
She's talking about it. But her lawyer, he was like, well, she's going to kind of, see if that's going to work out or whatever. So I find that really that she would even be considering that.
Let's shift away from Rex for a moment, because I just realized, like Susan Russo has a question. Rhonda's never really spoken about our trip when she went with me to Moscow, Idaho, and did some filming. Maybe you want to talk about that a little bit, about your experience going along with me on that trip or whatever.
I want to say one more thing about Heuermann.
Okay.
Have you sold the house, or is it still there?
Rex Heuermann sold.
He still lives there.
Right. He sold the house to her, and the property, I think he sold in South Carolina to his brother, I think, if I remember right. So there was some movement to the property, but I think they still own the house.
Bulldoze that thing. It's so nasty.
Yeah. Anyways.
Okay, so I can answer. I did feel eerie the whole time we walked around there. It was kind of surreal, especially walking by the memorial and just, feeling the whole feelings about the house. So yeah, it was uncomfortable, and it's sad, very sad.
Yeah. I remember, when we walked past the house, there was a memorial set up, because we were actually there around the time, like on the anniversary kind of thing. And there was a memorial set up with people who are leaving trinkets and graduation things and cards for the victims. And unlike me, I just kind of took a picture and was going to move past, but she spent some time, Rhonda, kind of looking through things. And it was an emotional thing for her to think about the students that were coming and remembering friends that had been lost. She had more of that emotional reaction to it than I did. Yeah. So yeah, it was a thing. And she was with me when I got chased off by the frat boy or whatever he was that was calling the cops on us. That was fun, a little thing. But she was in the car as I walked back to her, but she saw them on the phone with the police calling. Yeah, I did. I waved at him too as we went by. I was like, "Hey,
jerks!"
Right. But the intimidation worked.
Making my middle finger, I just,
the intimidation worked, because we left because I didn't want to make a scene, and I knew the cops were going to be coming, and sure enough, they did. The cops came. They saw me leaving the neighborhood, and they flipped the UE and followed me out of town. So they definitely were on the way, and I knew they would be. Now, granted, could I have pulled the whole "it's not illegal to walk around the neighborhood" kind of thing? Yeah, and I could have had a discussion, but I really didn't want to spend there having a conversation with Moscow Police Department. So I just kind of left. But
so I was paying attention on the court case just now. They said he was 62. You'll have to do the math.
If he's 62 now, 2010 was what, 16 years ago. So what's
right?
Four,
like 48.
Math on camera.
48. Yeah.
48.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. But like we said, they're looking at potential cases from
the 1990s,
before the 90s. You're right. Yeah. So when he was younger. So as JJ, he's always saying, they don't start out. They start young. And it's true, as we all know that. So this isn't something that he just decided to do in his 40s, like have a midlife crisis and decide to go on a killing rampage. So
Yeah.
I don't doubt that there are other victims, older cases out there. So
Yeah, and Essie makes a good point. Like, you're right. Like Rex Heuermann was the primary breadwinner for the family. They have medical bills. He was their insurance. They have no insurance now that he's in jail. They were in bad financial things. And look, they seized the government or the state seized hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Actually, might have been hundreds of firearms, of which the total was in the thousands, actually. And then the thing that baffled me was when she asked to get the guns back, because it's the only fucking thing of value in that house, they shamed her for what kind of sick person wants the guns back of their serial killer husband. I'm like, because it's the only thing that she's got that she can sell to make money. Like, and then they shamed her because, and this part was a little cheesy, I guess, maybe, but she tried to sell the Jeep right on eBay that Rex Heuermann had, and the bad move she made is she kind of like, hey, Jeep drove by the serial killer who might have been using that thing during the times of his. That's where she got in trouble. Is like, maybe you could buy a Jeep that might have been used in the commission of a crime, and they're like, you can't.
Right. On eBay. Yeah. And to S's other point about she didn't know what he was doing because he kept the basement locked up like all the time. She wasn't even allowed down there. Right. So I don't know that she knows anything or not. But
so
I don't know.
John Ray hinted, and I don't know if he knows or if he's just making a guess. There was only one computer in the house, and they shared the computer, and so he made the comment. He said, this idea that she didn't know what's going on. He said, how do you know, for example, the files that they found on Rex's hard drive that seemed to be detailed reminders? Next time, drive this way. Next time, take a bag, clean up the thing. How do we know that he's the one that wrote that and it wasn't his wife writing reminders for him? Next time, make sure you take a garbage bag. Next time you do this, do that. Like, so he posited, you don't know if they were both sharing the computer, that those files were entirely his, or whether they were planning things together, or she was leaving notes for him and helping him be better at his hobby, or what. But I don't know. Like, I really don't know at the end of the day.
Right. I don't know where the computer was located, because if it was located down to like where his office, if it was down in the basement, then and if he really did keep it locked, and you are not to go down there at all. I mean, that to me would just be
hell no.
right there for me. If if that suddenly told me you're not allowed to go in this room,
dungeon space. Yeah, you're not allowed in this space. She would like, oh fuck, I'm breaking into that tomorrow.
And I want to know, where did he keep all those guns? Like
in a vault downstairs in the basement.
I know, but for as many as he had, I mean, it was like a freaking arsenal. Like, I mean, and that house is not that big.
There was a story about a neighbor that he let into the vault one time, and he said something about, you should feel privileged. You're one of the only people who've ever seen this room, kind of thing. And there was a hint that he used that vault room for the gun to do the tortures in, because it was like a soundproof room and everything. And so, yeah. But.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. I can't even imagine. But
it's a creepy story.
That's for sure. So, but.
So yeah, and for me, Rex Heuermann was one of those cases that I didn't know if it really fit my channel's MO. My channel's all about the presumption of innocence and whatever. And with Rex, it never really felt like he was probably going to be wrongfully convicted. But again, what caught my attention was just the whole James Burke, chief of, the chief of police who dismantled the task force looking into the serial killer, and then himself was caught doing drugs with prostitutes and referring to prostitutes as who gives a shit, they're just prostitutes. Like what the hell was going on in Suffolk County Police Department that was their attitude about prostitutes in the first place? As soon as you leave them going in that basement. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It was a computer in the basement?
I thought the computer was in the basement.
The computer was in the basement, she says. So,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this woman, what she retains in her brain is amazing.
Right.
So,
and that was basically what John Ray was kind of hinting at, is that they shared the computer together and it was in the basement. So she did have access. There was the other thing that was unsaid. I don't want to get morbid, but again, maybe the reason why it didn't go to trial was they hinted that on his computer was found torture porn. And what they didn't say was whether or not it was torture porn of others or torture porn that he had made himself in that room. So that's
no,
the thing.
they didn't make that distinction.
Was he filming his own kills, or was he just downloading violent stuff to get him in the mood to go do a kill of his own? Or again, this is allegedly if he is the killer, but I mean, he did plead guilty. So they have to take that. But I don't know.
I don't understand how these women can live with or these people can live with a partner that's going out and doing these things and not have any clue what's going on. How distanced do you have to be from your partner to not know anything's up? I don't get it.
Well, she was out of the country a lot. She was out, she did several times a year. She did, yeah. But
I don't want to. God, I have to be careful how I say this, but he made a lot of money compared to her. She had never really worked a job. She didn't have skills of her own. She relied on him for financial support. So how much is it? Sometimes you don't want to know because he's your breadwinner. Like you only, and if you don't feel like you can go out and leave him and go get a job on your own, do you lie to yourself because you don't want to know, because you don't have any real options? Like, I don't know, but
yeah, I don't know.
It's hard to say.
Yeah.
It's an interesting case. It's essentially over. We still, as far as I know, this should not impact John Ray's pursuit of Dr. Peter Hackett, who he was trying to go, basically suggest has some involvement in Shannon Gilbert's disappearance. So I'm curious to follow that still. I don't know how that's going to pan out, but I'm watching John Ray and watching that case as well. Manipulative people are good at what they do. Yeah.
That's very true.
There was a woman. So there was a lot of allegations that Rex Heuermann and his wife were swingers, and they went to swinger parties, with cops, and and cops. There's even a story about supposedly about a cop that they picked up a girl who was essentially a street person and took her to the house. And at some point she came running naked out of the house, running around, and there was
that was Karen Vergata. Yeah,
that was Vergata, right? And that whole story. And so you have to add, and I think there was an individual who got away and lived, who talked about having sex with Rex Heuermann multiple times that night, and they were all getting along famously for a while. But I mean, apparently they were into swingers clubs, kind of things like that. And again, if they did that and they were involved with police officer who was also in the club, did any of them kind of look the other way because, hey, I know that guy, he's all right, I've traded partners with them or whatever? Like, I don't know, did that happen or not?
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, there's still some things to watch there that could be potentially in play, especially if that suit is definitely brought against Asa, as far as sue for wrongful death. So
yeah, I need to look into that. Do you know who filed it?
They didn't say a name. They just said the son of a victim.
All right, I will figure it out here live. We'll do it live. What else? Do we have anything? I mean, I don't want to force us to hang out for 2 straight hours if nobody's going to come join us on stream. Do you guys have any other cases or thoughts or questions you want to ask while we're here together as a group?
Well, I know you're going to be going through that new document for Idaho 4. I know you probably didn't have much of a chance today, but that is something that is definitely going to be interesting to delve into there. So
Yeah, I was out all day today, so I didn't get a chance to dive too much into the document. I did start to read it yesterday, and I will read through it this weekend. And if I find something worth, actually, I already know I have something worth talking about. So I'll have a video on Monday. I just got to put it together over the weekend, and I'll drop a video on Monday with some of my thoughts from that. So I do know I have something.
All right, excellent. Oh, hi, JJ. JJ's in the chat.
Nice. It'd be great if he came up on the stream with us, but I realize if he's busy.
Probably working.
Yeah, he might be driving.
All right. So here's what I know. This is what I found out doing quick Google foo stuff. Yes, a wrongful death lawsuit's been filed against Asa Ellerup, Rex Heuermann's wife, along with Heuermann himself and the daughter Victoria Heuermann. The suit is filed on April 6th, 2026 by Benjamin Torres, the son of Gilgo Beach murder victim Valerie Mack, who was killed in 2000. Attorney John Ray is representing Torres. So there you go. Our buddy John Ray is getting himself still involved with the Rex Heuermann case. It alleges wrongful death, assault, battery, false imprisonment, aiding and abetting, civil conspiracy, intentional infliction of emotional distress, fraud, and unjust. So John Ray is going all in on the Asa knew, and therefore he's going to represent one of the family members going after, saying, "Yeah, Asa, you knew."
He's probably doing it for free. He believes in that so much. He probably is.
Yeah.
Pro bono. Is that
he does a lot of pro bono stuff. Yeah.
Torres is claiming psychological trauma from his mother's murder. So here's the allegation. The allegation is, at some point in time, Asa Ellerup knew of, concealed, and deliberately ignored or consciously avoided learning of the material facts concerning Mack's assault, murder, and dismemberment. The suit suggests that they had access to the family home where some of the activity allegedly occurred. It also seeks to recover profits from it also seeks to recover any profits that Ellerup or Victoria may have earned from participating in the Peacock documentary Gilgo Beach Killer House of Secrets, where they earned $1.5 million or whatever for their appearance in that.
So can they find out via phone records? Is that what they're thinking?
The last I knew is John Ray did have some sort of receipts from the hotel where supposedly Asa had checked in, one of her alibis, and they said that she did not. They listed a different date of checking in that she did. So he was able to kind of confirm that she lied about when she checked into the hotel. From what I understood, is one of the things that he may have uncovered in his investigation. But that would have to come from him. That's what I kind of remember is he did some sleuthing and found out that the dates that she said she was there, they said she was there at different dates.
And he's probably not going to talk about it until after the case.
Probably, yeah.
So that would be the smart thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
So Michelle wants to know if there's any news on Kentucky.
So I had a long talk with Jody from the defense rests last night. There is a lot of stuff going on in that case, indirectly, like right. Jody from the defense rest has been doing amazing detective work from Australia of all people. She is on one of my favorite theories, which is follow the money. So she's on a money trail showing how the system. So here's I'm going to give you a teaser of what it is, because I want to show the receipts before I go too far. The teaser is that a lot of the abuse that happened, for example, against Sabrina in her case against Ben Fields, is that they were abusing this ankle monitoring system. And so they would put girls on an ankle monitoring thing and then say, hey, look, if you can't afford the ankle monitoring, we can work something out, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'm sure you can do something for me and I'll do something for you and you can get off your house arrest. And so here's where the money thing comes in. It appears that those girls had options for free ankle monitoring if they couldn't afford it, but they were never told that they had those options, because there was efforts to hide the government programs that were available to the girls so that they would be forced to go on an ankle monitoring system through a private company they set up so there's fuckery in the money. Like they're not letting the people know they have options so that they feel trapped by the system so that they could be abused. And so if that's the case, she's blowing that shit wide open. If I'm looking for the receipts for her, but I believe her research is good. And I've talked to her about it. So we're working together to put something together. In fact, Jody and I have been talking about doing a series, her and I, a special series on Letcher County, and starting to dig into those receipts together for some long form videos. So
that would be excellent. Yeah. I know you guys have been kind of working back and forth with trying to set that up, but that's going to be extremely, extremely interesting. And hopefully maybe maybe we can help that situation some way or how. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's a crazy place. Part of me wants to go back to Kentucky, and part of me thinks I don't know no part of Kentucky because that's a dangerous place. I feel like you go to Kentucky, you're rolling the dice on whether you come home. Rhonda was there. Rhonda was there in Kentucky as well, and I think Rhonda would agree. At some point, I'm pretty sure she was with me on that trip. We ended up on some back roads in Kentucky, and I was like, what you don't want to do is get hurt or stopped or whatever, or a breakdown out here because you're in the backwoods on some back roads.
By Taya's house.
Yeah, by Taya's place, right?
Yeah.
Down in the holler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna jump here. Susan wants to know what's going on with Luigi.
Luigi Mangioni's case. What is the latest on Luigi Mangioni's case? He had the battle over the state and the federal cases going together, and I can't remember the update. Shame on me. Hold on one second. Let me pull this up. Luigi Mangioni. Let's go to luigimangioniinfo.com. Luigi Mangioni.
Burrow down minutia. It might be better if you just came up on stage to ask your questions. Don't be shy.
Yeah.
Don't be shy.
I see the 3-part question.
Yeah.
What's the case?
I don't know.
Well, I'm thinking it's Coberger. Yeah, it's Coberger. Yeah, it's Idaho 4.
But we'll let Lee finish his thought here.
Well, I was trying to look up a good summary. The litigation, all I got is so he still has a May 18th date. People versus Luigi Mangioni court appearance in the state case on May 18th. So that hasn't changed. That's been on the court docket for a while. And then June 15th, he has the federal case appointment. Last I saw, they were still fighting about whether or not it was fair for him to fight two cases at the same exact time. And I don't see any new rulings. I mean, the last update was, he's got a federal update on the 1st of April. It's just about the trial hearing date changing. So that's not it. So I guess I don't know. Shame on me. I don't know exactly what the status is. I need to do some digging again. Is that person going to come on board, or do I need to read all these questions about Idaho 4?
Said that they're in London.
London?
And not sure about their voice.
Well, I don't care. I mean, if you're thinking about accent, we're okay with that.
No, I think being sick.
Oh.
So I guess we'll talk for them then.
All right. Well, let's pin it. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I'm long-winded. Part 1. How on earth have the whole of big media decided that one case where literally everyone involved have done cliche, obvious cover-ups? Okay, continue the questions. Part 2, and lies, and the convicted murderer with absolutely zero proof against him is 100% guilty. Even trusted true crime YouTubers aren't questioning it. Okay, it's very strange to me and something I can't get past for the life of me. Even the frat interviews were weird. It seems like no one actually knew Ethan. What's going on? So, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I'm certain there's a cover up of what happened because there's embarrassments in the police department, in the university that they don't want exposed. And so I think that's the reason for the unprecedented gag order. Why mainstream media doesn't question it? Because mainstream media is that way. Mainstream media no longer does real journalism anymore, in my opinion. Mainstream media tells whatever they're told to tell. They don't question things. Yeah. They do things for sensationalism. So they're not going to question the official story. And so it wasn't until Howard Bloom, who wrote a book on this is why I know Brian Coberger did it, and here's what he was thinking when he went into the house alone to kill everybody, came out after he saw the crime scene photos and said, now that I've seen the crime scene photos, I don't think one person could have done that. Funny, you just wrote a book telling everybody in America that this guy did it alone, and here's how he did it, and here's what he's thinking about, but now all of a sudden you see the crime scene photos, and you're like, hey, I don't think one, like we fucking had said that. We had done the math. We had said that forever, and one person didn't do that. And he's like, you know what? I don't think one person did that. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Anyways, so there it is. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get it how anybody who has seen those photos could, you know, be thinking that was all done by one person. I don't get it, common sense wise.
Yeah, it's the frat mentality. You don't talk, you don't tell secrets, you don't speak negatively of your frat. Yeah, that's true. There is a brotherhood and a silence and that kind of stuff.
Hey, we have U.S. Claire behind.
We have U.S. Claire. Let's get U.S. Claire on stage with us. But the case seems the easiest for content creators to get clicks and views. Surely, I don't understand why the case is so different. So to your point, I have no idea why Idaho 4 dominates true crime space. It is ridiculous. Like, I have found I can't talk about any other case or it just dies. All anybody wants to talk about. And it's funny because I hear a growing number of people who say, I'm so fucking sick of Idaho 4. And yet every time an Idaho 4 comes out video, even if it's nothing, it's the number one thing on YouTube that day in true crime. Like, people can't stop clicking on it, even while simultaneously saying, I'm sick and tired of this case. We're never going to get any answers. Now, on the positive side, I do think we will see something big happen this year. I really do. But
yeah,
what this means.
We had U.S. Claire in the wings. U.S. Claire, what's going on?
Hi, how's it going?
Good.
So Jules put a video up, like, I want to say, like, right before the live started, and I watched it, and it's on so new ISP photos were released, and it's only a few, and it's pictures of Brian Coberger that were right after he got extradited back to Idaho from Pennsylvania, and it's on Reddit, and I do have some like the link to the Reddit post, and I want to. Am I able to send it through like the chat on like the art on you?
I don't think it allows regular chat people to post links in there. I'm trying to figure out how can we get the link from her. You can email it to us at an email address.
Okay.
Doesn't StreamYard allow her to post it in here?
I think I'm able to. I mean, I think I can
try it. You can try it.
Let me see.
Yeah, I think she can.
I thought for some reason they didn't allow links to be posted by anybody except for
it's there.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just wanted to share this link, and I wanted to kind of like see your guys' like reactions. It's just like, it's only a few photos, but
I don't see the link. You see it, Robin?
Yeah.
Oh, in private.
It's in the private chat. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Stand by. Let me get it worked out here.
And while you're doing that, Stephen Wolf 409 just became a member, so thank you very much for that. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much for that. Brian Coberger, via the ISP, Idaho State Police Forensic Services, my FOIA request, inmate number 163214. Okay. Let's see. So some bruising on the inside of his arm they're showing there.
That's in 2023.
And that was like in like early January. So like,
yeah,
that's what, like a month and a half after the murder. So that could maybe be new. That's my thinking.
It might have been from when they arrested him, if somebody grabbed his arm hard.
Yeah, and Jules in her video said something about how like she doesn't really think much of it just because of how much they were like kind of like manhandling him. So like
Yeah.
I don't know him, so like maybe he bruises easily, maybe he doesn't. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you guys want to talk about it, but I did want to share that, and I can't stay for too long because I do have to go to the grocery store and get my cat some more food. So
Yeah. I mean,
Well,
for
thank you
me,
very much.
yeah, thank you. So this says, and again, this is Reddit, so I don't know that I can wax too long on something that is posted on Reddit without the receipts, but it says on 1/5, the forensics visited Coberger and booked him into the Latah County after his 12:30 arrest. So let's do the math. So November 13th is the murders. So you're looking at 12/13 would be a month later. 1/13 would be 2 months later. So it's not quite 2 months later that you're seeing some bruising on him. If that's the correct timeline. I was given 25 out of the 47 images taken. Here's some of the ones I received. I chose accordingly as some of them are pretty similar. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how far I can go with it because I don't know if it's legit, but and like you said, you can't say definitively whether that's being manhandled in prison. Did somebody, a guard, grab his arm and squeeze super hard and leave a bruise there? Does it, for all you know, if you don't know the context, for all you know, he's showing these pictures because he complained that somebody, beat him up or bruised him in prison. He's like, here, document this as my bruise. Like, of course, people want you to jump to the conclusions. It's sign of what he got in the struggle, but that's not what they're saying necessarily. So.
No, they're just
And
showing.
this knuckle picture is the one that, what is that? Is it a sign of scabbing, or is it? I don't know. I don't like to go too far on these photos without knowing a little bit more, but I do appreciate you sharing it for sure. I do appreciate you sharing it. I know she's gone off the stage, but it's interesting. What happened? We lost everybody. We lost U.S. Claire. We lost Rhonda. What the hell happened? Did our whole stream shut down? I look at some photos and everybody's gone.
No, this stream is there. I don't know. There's
your
Claire.
What's up?
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't hear DA for whatever reason, so I just wanted to leave and come back in. That's my fault.
Okay. I heard that happen the other night too, where they can only hear you.
Yeah,
Robin.
like last night, I couldn't hear you or Dago. So I ended up just like leaving for a few minutes and just watching the live and coming back. It happened, so I'm just
probably something StreamYard's doing, I guess.
probably.
That sucks.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
We have Burrow.
Burrow, what's up?
Oh, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Goodness me, I'm nervous.
What do you? Don't be nervous. We don't bite. What's up?
Well, I just kind of want to reiterate what I said before because it doesn't make sense. Like, seriously, are you telling me that, oh, goodness me, Dylan, you can hear her saying, oh, yeah, well, pretty much at 4 a.m., whatever, right? You can see it doesn't make sense already. It's obvious. She clearly is lying. Then all the documents come out. She clearly is lying. Then we get the interview, again, clearly lying. Like, nothing makes sense. We see from all of the cam footage and like all the reports and everything that like it all seems like a joke, but the media's like, oh yeah, no, this makes sense. This makes sense, and I don't understand. Like, how does it make sense? It seems like everyone's doing like slapstick comedy, but it's real life.
Yeah, no, I mean it's a good point because at the end of the day they fall, even though it doesn't make logical sense to us, and at the end of the day I don't think it would have made logical sense to a jury. I think they would have torn Dylan apart on the stand with her credibility, and I think they knew that. But at the end of the day, when Coberger pled guilty, it was one of those Who cares? Who cares if nothing looks right to you? He pled guilty. End of story. The guy said he did it, so he did it. And it doesn't matter at this point, any part of it that doesn't look right, any bit of fuckery you've seen, any hidden documents and gag order and all the lies and fuckery, and this wasn't true. And wait a minute, the girls were sleeping, but now you're saying they're awake, and oh, they lied about this and they said this, and it doesn't matter. You pled guilty. So quit talking about it. Like they just literally got away with shutting it all down. Yeah.
Why on earth would he plead guilty? That doesn't make sense either. Like he knows he didn't do it. Obviously, he knew the proof was out there, so that doesn't make sense either.
I believe. So you have to accept the possibility he pled guilty because he was guilty. But more than likely, what happened is he was running against a deadline. His right to that plea deal was running out, and so at some point, I feel Coberger may have taken the plea because that option was going to be off the table. But by taking it, he still has the ability to prolong then his fight for post-conviction relief. And so the plea deal may have been just a formality of maybe he literally doesn't care what people think about him. So he's okay pleading guilty to something he didn't do, knowing that someday he's going to be exonerated and you guys can all eat shit for thinking badly of him. And so I think it was more of a posturing thing of buying him time because that option was going to be off the table. So he took the option before it ran off the table. And I think inside word is that he is about to file post-conviction relief, probably ineffective counsel. And that's not saying Ann Taylor didn't do a good job, but there's other reasons why Ann Taylor may have been ineffective counsel, conflict of interest that they haven't fully disclosed yet, things like that. Ann Taylor may just technically have not been able to provide him proper defense.
They didn't give her a chance, though, did they really? So
no, Hitler never gave her a chance. No.
No, that was the other part of it.
Even if he took a plea deal, that was the worst kind of plea deal because now it's like you've already said I'm not going to appeal this, and now you're appealing it, you know. But I get it. I know technically he can, but for someone as intelligent as him, it just doesn't make sense. But no, I don't think that they had a fair shot.
I think your biggest point is this. It doesn't make sense for him to maintain his factual innocence for 3 years, only to at the last second say, yeah, I did it. And that makes no sense. Other than from a legal standpoint, it bought him time. And that's the thing that does make sense. So that almost tells you the plea may not have been authentic because what it did is it just bought him some time. Because it doesn't make sense that you would maintain your innocence to the last day and string everybody along just so you can say, yep, I did it. Like, I don't know.
But to Microdot's point, Microdot says, look at what Hitler would not let in. Right. There should have been Frank's hearing.
Yeah.
And there
that
weren't.
doesn't seem illegal, the things he withheld.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I don't think that, that was another thing she was fighting against was Hitler.
Yeah.
Who was trying the case.
I understand your question, but it's almost a rhetorical question. Like, it doesn't make sense. Why did he do it? You're right. It doesn't make sense other than if he's planning on post-conviction relief, it makes sense that he would take the plea deal while that was still on the table. It stops the whole "we're going to kill you and execute you" thing through the death penalty kind of thing. Takes that off the table, and it effectively doesn't change his right to some of the post-conviction relief options that are on the table. So that plea deal didn't change his post-conviction relief options, but it did take off the possibility of them executing him. So it was maybe a win-win to take the plea deal because he still has the same options on the table for post-conviction relief. But
I mean, probably for him that makes sense, but not for like the media. That's what I don't understand. Like, honestly, really and truly, I know, sorry, BK, but I don't really care why he did it. I care why like no one's talking about it. It doesn't make sense because this is like, you would think like TV gold, right? But no one's touching it.
Yeah, here's another thing. Like maybe I'm an idiot, but when Jules first got a hold of the audio of the screaming at 2-something in the morning, which I said any jury, if they had heard those screams at 2:30 in the morning and then compared that to Dylan's statements about not calling 911 for 8 hours or whatever, any person would start to have reasonable doubt about when the murders actually happened. Because what you hear on that tape is two things. What you hear at 2:30 in the morning is what sounds like some huge trauma happening. And what
it was horrific.
And what you hear during the murder window at 4 o'clock is fucking nothing. You hear
Exactly.
a thud. You hear a thud
Yep.
and a dog bark. That's it. So we're to believe the silence that you hear is 4 people being murdered on 2 floors, but the horrific screaming that you hear repeatedly between 2:30 and 3:30 in the morning, oh, that's just kids playing in the neighborhood. Like any reasonable jury would say, well, wait a minute, if I can hear those kids screaming, then why can't I hear the screaming inside that house? Any reasonable jury would have had questions. And so it makes me, it just makes me think that there was just so much fuckery in this case and so where I was going with that is, I guess here's where I was going with this. I mailed copies of the audio where I snipped out the screams, and I mailed that to CBS News, Fox News, CNN News, and whatever, and said, hey, by the way, this newly released Moscow Police Department audio from 2 something in the morning sounds like people being murdered or seeing something horrific. It sheds possible light into the idea that this didn't happen when they said, and not a fucking mainstream media source even said so much as thanks. They just ignored me entirely. It didn't get bounced. They all, every single one of those major news outlets got the files from me, and it was indexed, and I showed them exactly what seconds they needed to listen to, not so much as a peep. They had no interest in covering the possibility that it could have happened at a different time. No interest whatsoever. So media has been
that does not
lockstep
make
on the narrative.
sense.
Yeah.
Like something major is going on. I feel like they must all know. They have to, right? Because it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. They must.
And I'm not sure if it's they know as much as American media has been compromised, because if they want to get the story, the scoop, they need to be on friendly terms with law enforcement. So if law enforcement is going to be shamed, made fun of, or questioned by media, they're just going to stop getting inside information from law enforcement. So to be a news agency, the last thing you want to do is piss off the police, because they're the ones you want to get the breaking story from, right? So it's almost like a self-regulating thing. The media won't question law enforcement and the prosecution, because that's their friends for source material. So they're not going to piss them off and question them, because it shuts them down.
It pulls out a villain then. Oh, I can hear everything, like Haley running up and down the stairs, but absolutely no dog barking or screaming or anything. But heard someone say, "Oh, it's okay, I'm here to help you." How does that make sense?
Yeah,
like it doesn't. It doesn't.
It doesn't.
But before I leave the panel and go back to watching the live, I do think that like I watched like the live like in time that those hours on Jules's channel, where like in the moment I saw her reaction when we all heard the screams in that moment, and like that sent shivers down my spine. Like that was just like a bone chilling, like there's no way that was a blood curdling scream. Something there was no way that was a scream for like fun.
My wife who's on the screen can probably attest. If I remember right, she was there. When I first heard that, I was listening on headphones. I literally ripped the headphones off my head, and I had the shakes when I heard it. I was like, "Oh my god!" Like,
I remember
seriously.
I had the shakes
on a past live. And one more thing, like I flip flop between these two, but like I can see like all 4 of the murders happening at the same time, but also at the same time, but also like I could also see like maybe like 2 different crimes in like the same house at 2 different times for different motives and all that.
Yeah.
But I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on that. And after I am going to leave the panel and go back to watching the live. So
okay, well, thank you for coming on.
You're welcome.
I appreciate
Thanks
it
for
very
having me.
much. Yeah.
Thank you. Take care.
Yeah, I mean, I without you here actually to articulate it further, the idea that there was 2 separate crimes, and I think what you mean by is one set of murders happened in one room, and another set of murders happened in the other room, and they happened perhaps at the same time with different killers in different rooms killing people. That's something that I've always thought was possible, that the 2 floors were attacked simultaneously, and that there was more than one killer in the house. And so I've always thought that was a possibility. And I think Turvey, defense forensic specialist came on and said the same thing. His conclusion was this was committed by more than one person with more than one weapon and may have been done simultaneously on 2 different floors at the same time. So, and I think that when everything's said and done, that's probably the most likely scenario. Although there is a scenario that I've been starting to play in my head that the attack started on Ethan. Xana saw.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, that Xana's scream. That's what we hear is the horrified scream of her seeing Ethan attacked right in front of her. That wasn't. I don't think that was a pain scream. I think that was a terror scream that she saw something horrific happen. Kaylee could have come down, hearing all the commotion, and then they chased her back up the stairs. And so it could have been one set of killers that did chase Kaylee back up. I think she probably I think. The more I look at it, I think Kaylee was staying in her own room that night. I think her phone was in her room that night. Her bed was turned down. She ran to Maddie's room for solace, right? To get somebody to be with, to buddy up with somebody because there's somebody in the house. That's what she yelled. Dylan said, I heard Kaylee say someone's in the house. She ran back up the stairs, ran to Maddie's room for a friend. And then they may have both gotten, chased up the stairs and killed in that room. But.
Right. And more than, 2 simultaneous events happening at once makes much more sense. Yeah. And so in order, and as we've said before, none of those 4 people were weaklings. Okay. Right.
Exactly.
Girls, but they were tough. Like Xana and Kaylee especially were very tough girls. So that was not going to be an easy task taking them down. So
yeah, and I hate getting graphic, but it seems that Xana was fighting very hard for her life and was had fingertips cut off and stuff like that. She was probably throwing punches, trying to grab the knife. She was in a struggle with that person, and she got it bad because she was fighting. And again, you're not fucking fighting silently. How does Dylan hear somebody crying in a bathroom but doesn't hear the fight for your life? Which would have been screaming and terror, and we could hear the scream on the audio from 1119 or not 119, the 1112. So I think that scream is coming from back there because that's what you would hear when somebody is fighting for their life. But
absolutely. So
yeah, I think honestly, unless they weren't in the house, I think you'd have to be really honestly sick to listen to all of that and not say anything.
Yeah, so Sausage Biscuit's comments about you would run for the exit and not run upstairs or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe you've got a point. So why didn't Kaylee, if Kaylee was down on the 2nd floor and she saw what was happening, why didn't she run straight out the sliding glass door and book it out of the house, right? Instead of running upstairs to Maddie's room. But so it's good.
Well, maybe she wanted to protect Maddie.
Yeah, maybe she just had commotion.
They were so close.
Right.
Yeah.
Or maybe she didn't think she got spotted. Maybe she thought she was going to go hide. Even so, you're right. I mean, look, all of us think we know what we do in the moment, in fight or flight. And I don't think any of us probably truly know what we would do until we're in that kind of situation. So some people, look, there are people, you don't know if you're this kind of person. Somebody comes in and they're killing your spouse. Are you the kind of person that will defend your spouse and get right in there and try to stop them and get killed? Or will you go, I'm fucking out of here because they're distracted? You don't know what person you are until that moment happens. Rhonda's talking some shit. Good thing she's muted. Anyways.
No, I know what person I am, and I'm sorry. They will have to kill me before anybody hurts her. Because I do. I've been in plenty of fights, and I don't care who you are. I don't care what you have. You will have to kill me. And I know that for a fact. So I can, but not everybody, is like that. Not, so.
So Lee, which kind of person are you?
What do you think? I know. Wait a minute. No, I forgot. My wife says, "Oh my God, you're such a teddy bear. You couldn't hurt a fly." When I tell her that I would defend her, she laughs at me. She's like, "You wouldn't defend shit. You're like a pansy."
I just say you're so sweet. I can't see you doing that.
I know.
I don't know. He gets mad. He gets mad at stuff. So yeah, I think if you got him pissed off, that would piss him off enough that he might, I don't know.
But yeah, we don't. The bottom line is, all of us can armchair quarterback how we would react in a moment, and whether we'd be brave or whether we'd be a chicken shit. I don't think any of us know. You don't know until you see somebody in a burning car. If you're the kind of person that would go burn yourself to pull them out of the car, or whether you're like fucking stand back and watch them die. Like, you don't know until you're in the moment what kind of person you are until you're tested. So, you know.
Yeah. But
I'm going to go
it didn't happen like they said it did.
Yeah.
Sore throat, but lovely to finally speak to you guys. And I'll pop off and watch live.
Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate
Thanks.
it.
See ya.
Yeah. Have a good one.
Come on back again.
Will do.
All right. Cuckoo. All right. What else? She was getting mad, or maybe the entrance was blocked. Right. So, I mean, so Linda has a good point. If there was multiple killers in the house, for all you know, somebody was standing at the sliding glass door, and she had no option to run out the back door. Maybe she had to run upstairs because there was people in the house. You know, I don't know.
Right.
I feel like I'm getting an echo. Somebody's all of a sudden I'm hearing it myself echo somewhere.
There you go. Yeah, she was.
Oh, gotcha.
But
yeah, it's. I mean, the bottom line is, the bottom line I keep going back to every single time is, I personally have a hard time believing one person did all of that in 8 minutes, which is and that's 8 minutes is on the large side of what happened. It might have been even shorter. And again, keep in mind, that's not even for the killings. That's time to clean up somehow so that you don't track blood out to your car. So you got to factor in cleanup as well. I cannot.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Looks like Lee and Rhonda froze up. Okay. Am I still showing you live? Hey, guys in the chat, let me know if you're still seeing me. Yeah, okay. Oh my gosh, well, we froze up. So, but yeah, I don't know how anyone common sense wise could just, think that this was one person, Mission Impossible kind of crap, okay. Yep. I'm the show now. Ooh. Well, yep, they'll be back in a second, but I'm gonna throw out the link again, and come on, we still got some time here, folks. As you can see, we're fun, and we really enjoy hearing all of your thoughts about the case, and any other case as far as that goes. So I know Idaho 4 tends to dominate, of course, but we we'll talk about other cases too. So, but or put a question in the chat, and can I sing? Dee would kill me if I turn this into a karaoke session. I can sing, but I don't think you would want to do that. So, the Sausage Biscuit says, let's see. That's another reason that I fully believe Dylan is lying, because her story says she ran past the exit, and I lived through someone in my house at 4 a.m. You would never run past an exit, right? Okay, so we're going to go back to the whole common sense thing. Now, let's look at that. Dylan's already on the second floor. If she can see out to the kitchen, to those double door, and see any way of getting out of there, that's what most people would do, is to try to head to the exit. And the fact that, also though, remember, there's so much that we're finding out that maybe Dylan really never said. So there's that too. But I have always questioned the opening the door, closing the door, opening it again, closing it again. I mean, people aren't going to allow you to live when you're opening and closing a door, and then the guy is standing right outside the door, like, so that from the get-go, it never made any sense whatsoever to me. So let's see what Karen says here. Karen says Dylan was part of it, probably Bethany too. In some fashion, they were part of it. Well, that could very, very well be possible. So, well, we had e-potty, but then they disappeared again. So, all right. Well, the link is out there, folks. So we still have a little time. I'm not sure if DA is coming back or not. I'm just checking. Hey, you coming back? So, let's see. Okay, mic problems. Yeah, that's never fun. That is never fun. So, third Patchy says, I've always questioned not calling. Wait, 5-year-olds have saved lives, saved their families' lives, calling for the fire department or the police. So when you hear something like that, uh, why would you not call the cops? I mean, that's something that's drummed into us anymore from a young age. It's not like, okay, I'm gonna say my age here, 54 years old. We didn't really have that, of course, we're talking back rotary phones and cordless, the original cordless phones. So we didn't have that, but even so, we knew to call someone. Like that was something my mom made sure that we knew because we didn't have any, we weren't going to carry paper around. We didn't have cell phones. So we at least knew probably 3 to 4 people's phone numbers by heart that we could have called, as well as 911. Or back then you could call the police station or whatever. So, I've never bought that. Oh, Sean Marie wants you to come on. She's like, no, sausage biscuits. Let's have you come up with me. Hey, how are you?
Hello, love. I'm well, thank you. How are you tonight?
I am doing well. So what's on your mind tonight?
Well, I just wanted
Uh-oh.
to share. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Lee is saying the house lost internet, so they're trying to get things rebooted. So both of their internet providers are down. He's going to see if he can get reconnected, but that's okay. Crime Cat came to see the show. So what is on your mind tonight, hon?
Well, I know everyone responds differently, and you do
Yeah.
say you never know until it happens to you.
We got JJ. Sorry, honey. We got JJ. State of the Deep. Let's pull him up with us. Okay,
Hi,
continue on.
JJ.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, JJ.
Hi.
But the thing is, I did actually have someone in my house at 4 a.m. Where I was residing at the time. It had a security where it would beep when one of the doors opened. And so I got up and I assumed it was my garage door from the laundry room that sometimes would
Okay.
pop open. And as I breach that laundry room door, I see that the garage door is completely closed. And so I kind of panic a little bit and I walk forward towards my front door and I look to my right because I can hear something. And from about the thigh, mid thigh down, I see a man going up my staircase to go upstairs.
Oh,
And
shit.
and so I froze and my brain processing said, "Oh shit. This is really happening. There is someone in my home." Now the front door is right in front of me, right? But my
Yeah.
brain, I looked to the right and I could see down the hallway my back door. And I ran for the back door. I said, "I don't know who you are, but you need to get the hell out of my house." I just ran straight out the door. I didn't stop for my phone. I didn't stop to collect go. Nothing. My brain
Right.
just said, "Get out." And the
Right.
exit
Get the hell out.
Right, the exit that had the most distance between myself and the individual in the home happened to
Yes.
be the back door, not the front door right there.
Right.
So
Right. And
I really didn't think about anything, but oh my God, I've got to get the hell out because there's someone inside. I need to be outside.
yeah.
So when
Yeah.
Dylan's
So did
story
they get the
came
guy?
out,
What?
well,
Okay, now I'm all
ironically
curious.
enough, I mean, I ran out and I kind of looked up to see shadows, to see, because there was a light on upstairs. So I was trying to assess, how many people are upstairs? And then I looked around my neighbors and assessed which neighbor would be the smartest to knock on their door to get them to call the police. And it was someone who ended up in my home. It turned out to be innocent. The townhouse that I was in looked very similar to a different neighbor's townhouse, and he was highly intoxicated and came in the wrong townhouse, right? But all I could see was from his thigh up. I had no idea who was in my house. It was just stranger is in my home, and it's 4 a.m.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, I'm glad that that was the case and it wasn't someone who was actually, meaning
They're
harm to you. So,
correct.
wow.
But the point being is that in Dylan's
Right.
story, and she says that, she ran down to Bethany, and I'm like, wait a minute, you're trying to tell me you ran past an exit? Okay, no. No. And you're in a room and there's a window that you can climb out of and nobody got out. Okay, another no for me. And the other thing is, shortly after that, I was staying at a friend's house helping, take care of their furry animals. And I was obviously a little bit hyper vigilant. And I heard what sounded like the sliding glass door in their living room shut. And so I panicked a little bit and got up and shut the door and called 911 and said, I don't know if somebody is in here or not,
Yeah.
but I'm going to open this window and I'm going to sit halfway in and halfway out. And if the door handle to this bedroom moves before you get here, I'm jumping. I would rather have a broken ankle than be held hostage. And I don't know that somebody might not be in here and it might be a false alarm. But I would rather call you and I'll just tell you I'm hyper vigilant, but please come and check. So there again, Dylan said she was hyper vigilant. She had all these dreams, but she's scared. She does actually see someone. It's confirmed. I opened up the door. I came face to face with him. So a hyper vigilant person like myself, you call the cops because you're oversensitive and you tell him, I don't know. It could be nothing. It could be something.
Yeah.
But buddy, I'm telling you, if the door handle moves, I'm jumping out the damn window. You'll find me outside.
Well, hey, JJ,
don't come to the front door. You'll find me outside by the air conditioning unit that I'm going to try to hit.
And that's just it. Like like you're saying, your natural reaction. Most people would call 911. So, well, how are you tonight, JJ? Oh, you're muted.
All right. Sorry about that. Hi, everybody.
Oh, that's
Robin,
okay.
what's up? What's up, Biscuits? What's up?
Hello.
And hello to the denizens and the mods. See, I hacked DA's system so
that's
I
what
could
it
jump
is.
on screen and I'd have more time to talk.
It's a takeover. We're taking it over.
The Robin and JJ show.
Yeah. Yeah, he said their internet is out for the night, so they will not be back. So
wow, that's crazy. I hope it's not. I hope it's not more serious than that. If it's just
I know. I do too. So hopefully it's not. Their power doesn't go out or anything like that. I wonder what's going on in their area. I'm sure we'll find out, but yeah. So hey, I'm glad you popped up with us for the last little bit here. What's on your mind, sir?
Oh no, I was listening while I was driving, and I saw a lot of comments like about inconsistencies, the things we've talked about ad nauseum on here, and I just think that I guess for me the bigger I'm gonna zoom out for 1 second, and I've talked about this before. A lot of times when people are looking at a case, right? This is what we all do this, right? You're waiting for information. So information comes out in the beginning and you chew on that and everybody discusses it and it's talked about in the media. It's talked about by true crime content creators. And then you're waiting for more information to come out and then more. And then over time, it trickles out and it trickles out. And we see the inconsistencies. Now, a way that I look at it is what if all the information that's trickling out and piecemeal, right? It's all piecemeal. is really just to distract people. What if a lot of that information is largely, I'm not saying totally irrelevant, but largely irrelevant to what actually happened? Because if you're following a linear path, like this is the case, here's the guy, all right, here's our suspect, and now, okay, we arrested him, and here's this is the information, and it comes out in a linear way, typically, right?
Yeah.
So people follow it in that way. But if you wanted to keep people distracted, that would be the ideal way to do it. Because
And that's what they're doing.
right, because if you have everybody discussing, oh, these interviews, and oh, look at this document drop, and look at all this stuff. All right, so here's the zoom out part. If I'm obviously advocating for my theory about Coberger working potentially with the feds, he is somebody that could have been involved in that area before the crimes happened. In other words, he could have been working with one of the programs that were going on, either through WSU or a area-wide type of situation. And so in order to keep, for them to move forward with what they will ultimately try to do, which I believe is coming, which is push the domestic surveillance, the DNA database, the things I've been talking about. So he serves if you go with my theory, he serves a purpose because he is someone that people can focus on, whether it's he's guilty or innocent. You can have people talking about that and not looking at the bigger picture things, which is why I always say zoom out, right?
Yeah.
And to the point that I brought up about, and this is the last thing, the point that I brought up about what, seeing people comment about all the inconsistencies and why is it not being questioned? Because it's not supposed to be questioned. They know in advance that if they know how people will react to information. They know there'll be a group of people on one side saying this doesn't add up, and there'll be a larger group that's just following that information, and they're not going to zoom out. They're not going to look at all the other inconsistencies, the fact that there has been a concerted effort and billions of dollars invested in surveillance type of technologies.
Sure.
Right. Yeah. So now I'll give an example of why I can advocate for my own, relevance to my theories, that I don't think every case is like that. I've seen tons of true crime documentaries where I don't think, oh, this was a conspiracy. It's just when it looks like it, I'm going to say what I believe is going on.
Yeah. And, you're talking about him being involved in those programs potentially. I mean, is that something that, Catherine Ramsland could have helped him set up? It's not like she doesn't have her own connections to, various studies and stuff like that. And she recommended him, to WSU, to that program. And so, I mean, there is credence there. And I said way back when they were first starting all these big drops, it's busy work because they wait until things kind of get to a certain point, and then all of a sudden, then we have more stuff to look through. But it's still important to look through it. It's still important.
Yeah.
I have a question.
I agree. Sorry, biscuits. I'll just be quick. I agree. It is important. But the way that I look at it is, what is the purpose of the information, and is it
right?
And it's also what they're not saying that's important. What they dance around, that's also important. So, in my opinion, I try to look at that as well. Like, what are they avoiding? Sorry, Biscuits. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just wondering on the same line. I was thinking about it earlier today. If I were trying to create misdirection and cover something up that later, I'm utilizing national security to avoid releasing, I would go on a place like 4chan and leave messages about frat boys. And I would leave breadcrumbs and drops that are purposely misleading, that leave people doing kind of like what you said, Robin, just treading water, and it's all this busy work. It's just a giant
Yeah.
current. So you're swimming and you're going nowhere. But it made me wonder if all, are these anonymous drops on these different sites, is it someone that's being a whistleblower, or is it someone who's purposely misdirecting and just keeping people busy on nonsensical theories?
Right. Yeah. And, Microdot has a good point. We have to stop talking about the little stuff and dive into the larger stuff. Yeah, but I'm sorry, my crime cat is being very bad. Um, we sometimes though the little stuff leads to the bigger stuff, and that's why things kind of take a while. It's like all the FOIA requests and the public records requests that Lee has been putting in. Um, he's starting now to get some stuff back that he's going to be going through, and even though it's a lot to go through, so it takes a while, but it could be a small thing that turns into catching something major. So yeah,
Like no
to
fog
your point,
lights.
right. Oh, don't get Dago start if Dago is here. He'd be like the clip-on fog lights. But yeah. What oh dang. I was just gonna ask you something, JJ.
I wanted to say something to Biscuit's point, also, because before I forget, um, Papa Roger, right?
Yeah.
I had a debate with somebody online about this. Big shocker, right? I said that was a Fed, and they said no. They linked it to a person in Iowa, and my response is that's what we were told.
Right.
Because Papa Roger served a purpose. And you have to understand the way the power structure works, or you'll think I'm a lunatic. They want to groom the public into accepting narratives, regardless of how that narrative gets to the public. So, 4chan posts, Papa Roger, they want to groom the public that these are theories, right? So,
Yeah.
in my opinion, Papa Roger was a federal plant or somebody working.
Decoy.
And the reason I say the feds is because when it comes to the technology, they would be the ones that would take that up, that type of a thing, right? Because they want to forward a certain thing, keep people look at this picture. It kind of looks like Brian Coberger, right? Now,
Yeah.
that would reinforce my theory that he was working with the feds. And we don't know if he applied with any of the agencies, whether it be CIA, DHS, or the
Right.
FBI. We know that he
Right.
tried to get an internship and that he didn't get it. But we don't
Right.
know what other things he applied for, right?
Right.
So we don't
Exactly.
know any of that stuff. And if
No.
he was brought to that area for relating to funding that was going into that area for criminology and studies, we don't know that, and we're never going to know that, right? Because national security, right? You're not going to be
Yeah.
able to FOIA that.
I hate that shit.
Yeah. And we're moving in a direction across the board in society where we have been, I'll say, groomed because people can relate to that term. It's like psychological, right? But it's the
The
same as
engineering of consent.
social
Right.
engineering,
Yeah.
grooming on a larger scale. So we have been led down a path in the last 6 years where I'll give you a quick example without going too deep into it. It won't be that quick, but it's pretty quick. Okay, when you want to get people to do things and you're using powerful forces, systematic establishment forces, right? You don't dump it all at once, right? You have an agenda
Right.
where you want to end up. So what you do is you you present this, that, and the other policy or potential policy, and it's over the top, and people push back. No way, no way, no way. So then the power structure pulls back a little bit, and then they keep some of it in place. So people
Yeah.
go, well, at least it's not what they were proposing initially. So you accept that, right?
Yeah.
And then you move a little further down the road, and then they distract us with a bunch of shit, and then they
Mm-hmm.
take some more, and they do it over time because, as I've
Right.
said on this stream and other streams, the power structure thinks in terms of decades. People don't
Right.
think like that.
Long game.
It's
Right. So if they
interesting that you say that, JJ. I took an entire semester studying Carl Jung, which is largely what Walt Disney used in writing all of his movies, which is subconscious wants, needs, and desires. And Carl Jung studied Americans the most and found that they move in extremes like a clock pendulum. And he found that they would move from one extreme and then they wouldn't like that. So they would go to the next extreme and then kind of, and so they learn to anticipate how to push Americans and know what their response will be in order to, exactly like you said, to move it a little bit, and then they don't give it all at once, and then like the breadcrumb, and then they know how the Americans will respond. And it is very
Mm-hmm.
much uh, they know exactly what they're doing. They've been studying it forever, and they engineer people based upon emotional provocation. They know what will emotionally provoke you in a way to get you to respond. And so then they haven't forced you to do anything. They let you choose it for
Right.
yourself, so you think.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. So you think
You
so?
do it, and you do it incrementally, and the thing is, like, aside, I studied psychology, and I was pretty serious about it, and I I took it upon myself to learn about. There's a book that I have. I started reading it, but I was already reading something else, so I put it down. It's called The Psychology of Totalitarianism. It's by a famous psychologist from the Netherlands. Um, Matthias Desmet is his name.
Okay.
And if you look at the way that the power structure manipulates societies, that's how they do it. They get you to accept what they're doing incrementally, either as a response to fear,
Right.
or they get, like biscuits, like you were saying, they get you to think that you're making that choice because it's
Right.
more convenient. Convenience is another thing they use. This is the way we're doing it, but it'll be easier for you. It's safer. It's more
Right.
convenient. And they do it
So
over time.
yeah, and it becomes our new norm.
Right.
And so that's, and it sells their narrative easier every time something happens. Every time something comes up, it makes it easier to sell to the American public and the world. It's not just here, but I do believe America is probably one of mm, the biggest places that it happens. Is that this is how it is, and we're not going to go against it. And you're crazy if you believe anything else. And so yeah, but these documents, all right, look, we've got, what is it, 106 pages or whatever it is, this new Idaho 4 document. So and you still have to go through it and you still have to read it and everything. But, you know, every little bit, man, this case.
Right. And another thing too, I think that sometimes gets overlooked. If you have a larger entity behind the scenes that has unlimited funds, there's no limit to what they're capable of doing. And
Right.
if the agenda, let's just say hypothetically, what I'm inclined to believe is that they had like a 5-year plan, let's say, or a 6 or 7 or 8-year plan on the large scale level of this is what we want things to look like in 8 to 10 years.
Mhm.
They're not in a rush because they know exactly what they
No.
have to do to take us down that path. And I heard DA, I think, talked about it last night about would they he used the prerequisite of the greater good, right?
Right.
So would they do
Right.
this if ultimately it was a greater good? I disagree with him on that. I think it's more that it would be for their agenda, not the greater good, to implement the policies 8 to 10 years that they want to implement. So if we do this, will it pay off in our version of the timeline, right, for these powerful entities? Now, when billions, literally billions and billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars have been invested in domestic surveillance, predictive policing, that also would include DNA databases,
Yeah.
right?
Sure. Yeah. Mhm.
As a form of domestic surveillance. So
Right.
with all that money, and he even, I think, brought up like war or like,
Yeah.
Iran or something like that. And I've brought that
Right.
up before. They know there's going to be collateral damage when
Yeah.
any military action, and they know there'll be bad press and there'll be some blowback geopolitically, but they still do it.
They
So
still do it. Yeah.
here is where I think I probably would piss a lot of people off. It's scary to think that powerful entities would do
Yes.
the most evil
Bad things.
things, right? But it's
Yeah.
been done countless
For eons.
times, right? So that's how I look at it. And that's why when people are like, that's crazy, I can't have a conversation with them because they haven't done the background research. It's hard to sit. Now, I don't say a lot of what I know because we're a true crime channel, right? It would
Right.
bore the shit
Right.
out of people if I talked about the decade of research into different things that I've done. It wouldn't
Well, but
even
that's why you got to get your show going, man. So we can come
it's
over there and talk about it.
yeah, of course. It's just it's like and a lot of times you'll see people comment, "Did you know about this?" And it's like, "Yep, I did. I read that book. I know exactly what you're saying." There's a precedent for this type of thing. The term patsy, that didn't come out of thin air.
No.
The idea of a controlled opposition, that didn't come out of thin air. The
No.
idea of psyops, that didn't come out of thin air. These are well established things that have been
No.
used over time for larger agendas. And in the case
Yeah.
of the Idaho 4, oh, by the way, Biscuits, I love Carl Jung. I studied Carl Jung, and I've talked about this recently on a stream that I believe in a collective unconscious, that there's this vast field of information that everybody's tapped into, whether they are aware of it or not. It's out there, and that's why people need to trust their instincts more, because we've been taught to not trust our instincts.
Right.
Trust the experts. Trust the
Just
experts.
yes. Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely.
So
And they'll tell you that only the expert knows. And so, or
Right.
they'll purposely, in my opinion, try to make something more complicated than it is. So they
Than it
tell
is, yeah.
you, well, you're not going to understand that. You don't even worry about it. Just trust the expert. So, you know,
Yeah.
they kind of get you to the point that you agree to the learned helplessness, whether it's
Yep.
over finances or world economics. You know, they convolute it and have you chasing your tail when really, you know, it can just be as simple as if you print money endlessly, it will make your money worth nothing. You know, I don't have to give you a
Yeah.
6-hour dissertation to explain that.
Right. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
well, guys, it's about that.
Oh, sorry, Robin. Go ahead.
No, go ahead and finish your point. But yeah, it is about the time for wrap up. But go ahead and finish your point, JJ, please.
Yeah, one of the things that I try to, you know, implore people to do is learn. You don't have to spend years learning about something. If
No.
you want to understand why I make the connection between high profile true crime cases and the big picture and the power structure, look at the banking. You know, when I say banking, I mean private equity, investment banks, the global level banks, central banking. Look, just do a little research. It's very easy to do.
Yeah.
You know, you want to know something about an organization, look at who invests in that company, look and dig deeper, find out what entities, bigger entities are they connected to. Now you
Right.
have to sometimes go like several steps back because they obscure a lot of times who's involved.
Yes.
You have to go several steps back. And a lot of times you're not going to know the extent of who's involved because they can hide a lot of shit. But that's how you know about motives. You
Right.
learn about
Absolutely.
motives. It's real simple. Follow the money.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
follow the money.
So,
And I'm not an expert in geopolitics, but I've learned a lot about how global banking works and who's really setting forth these agendas. Look into who's behind Agenda 2030. Look into who's behind all these initiatives. And
mm-hmm.
they pitch, this is why we're doing it. They give you this cover story. This is why we're doing it. But if you dig a little bit deeper, you'll see that these are the reasons they're giving the public why they're pushing agendas. It's not for your safety. It's not to help humanity. It's not to help citizens. It's to
Yeah.
take from citizens because that is what it's always been about at any
Well,
cost.
and we have to stand up against that any which way we can. But this is a great place. Thank you so much for coming up tonight, JJ. As always, appreciate your insights into, you know, any of our discussions. And hey, it's always fun to get into some of the things we know or that you're passionate about. So, and Sausage, thank you so much for coming up tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and let you go, and then JJ and I will wrap up here.
Thank
But
you. God bless.
Bye,
yes, you too.
biscuits.
Take care, honey. So, but we'll go around you and me, JJ, and we will uh, go ahead and give your closing thoughts for the evening.
All right. Well, thank you, Robin, of course, and denizens and the mods. And I'm not going to do my public service announcement. I'll save that. I'll save that. But I will say that look into what you're being pushed to believe, what you're being manipulated to not say. Like what, you know, oh, these crazy conspiracy theorists, all these crazy content creators. That's a tactic. It's an old tactic. So I would encourage people to look at that. And whenever you're getting a heavy-handed narrative and being dissuaded from diverting from that narrative, that's when you start really asking the bigger questions, in my opinion. But thanks for having me. I'm glad I was able to get up and catch the end of it.
Yeah.
And I guess the timing was good in some ways. But thanks again to everybody. I really appreciate everybody.
Well, you're very welcome. And like I said, as always, Your conversation is always extremely interesting, and I love when we get into different areas and things like that. So I'm glad that you were able to come up, and so I'm glad you sabotaged DA's his internet. No, I'm just kidding. But well, thank you guys so much for coming out and hanging out with us tonight. I know it was a little bit of a different show, but it was excellent. Please, people, when you see that link out there, I think last night really proved it. We had like 7 or 8 people on stage at one time, and it was a fantastic conversation. So please keep the engagement in the chat has been wonderful. You guys just totally rock. And thank you to our mods, to Essie and Amanda, for holding things down tonight with in the chat. So appreciate you all very much, and whether you are here live or on the replay crew, we appreciate you just as much, and I hope you all have a fantastic evening. We'll be back again tomorrow evening, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard and 8 p.m. Eastern. So until then, signing out, and have a good evening.
Good night, everybody.